they'd be like, "Oh, you may know." Oh, where'd she go? She disappeared.
She pulled a Heather.
I'm still here.
And welcome back to the Riley Black Project with Crystal and John.
Hey,
How's it going?
it's going.
Yeah, it is.
When are we not tired?
You know, I don't know, but
There's
last
just
night
different levels.
was rough. We had a probably an asthma attack,
Yeah,
coughing attack with JR.
3 hours.
3 hours later. Yeah.
Now that came around.
Yeah. So I ended up at the Children's Hospital last night, only to wait around and his cough
leave
subsided
because it got better.
Yeah, his cough subsided and they still hadn't even taken vitals or anything. And we were in there for like two and a half hours.
Yeah.
And I was just like, well, let's leave because your cough has gotten better. We'll give you some medicine and then we'll touch base with your doctor.
Yep.
So
wish us luck.
Yeah. I think
he threw up 4 times.
Right, because of how hard he was coughing.
Yeah. So that was
fun.
Times.
That was fun last night. So I'm really tired.
I had my first therapy session.
Yes, you did.
Which, without giving too much away, because I plan to talk more in depth about this stuff later, it went really well. Yeah. So I'm hopeful. I have some homework that I have to do.
That's right.
I've been beating some positivity into my friends Pepe, Liz, and Heather. It was funny because the therapist a couple times kind of called me out for like negative, like self-talk kind of.
Yep.
And so like Liz did it, and I was like, stop it. And then Heather was like talking crap about her stuff. And like, I threw out details behind, what she was saying about herself. And then she immediately kind of like, they joked that Liz said that I threw her under the bus, and Heather said that I threw her in the river. And I was like, well, I'll continue to throw you in the river when you talk shit about yourself and not, give yourself some grace and look at the positive side of things.
Right.
So it's something we all could do a little bit better, and we're working on it.
Yeah.
Work in progress.
That's it. We're in the process.
Yes.
I cut a couple tumblers yesterday. Well, not cut, but engraved a couple tumblers yesterday.
Yeah. Well, and I went to my eyelash appointment.
Oh, yeah.
And then I also went to a hand appointment, which is huge for me because I've been putting that off for months. And the doctor, which I love, told me to, it's something different than it was the first time. So good and bad news, an injection wasn't going to fix it like last time, which I didn't love anyway.
Right.
I'm tired.
Struggle was real.
Yeah. So physical therapy 2 times a week for 4 weeks, but I have to find like they gave me a couple like suggested physical therapists. So I'll do that, but so I had that appointment. I had both of those appointments. Came back. It was 4:00. I usually leave the house around 5 to go pick up the boys, and I came back and engraved 3 more tumblers before I left.
Wow!
So I was pretty proud of that.
Yeah. Very productive day.
And while you were doing the emergency room debacle, and I was home with sleeping Jackson, I was actually working on some designs and stickers and packaging for those tumblers.
Right, I called you to give you an update that we were coming home, and it sounded like a pack of chihuahuas.
My printer's pretty loud when it my sticker printer is pretty loud when it prints. You're like, what is going on?
I was like, when did we get those dogs? What happened?
I have them hidden in the back
Clearly.
when you're not.
Clearly.
What else? Oh, I also made a knee appointment, which that I've been putting off for years.
Yeah.
Like long time. So that'll be interesting to see how that goes. And if they just blame the fact that I'm fat, or if they actually, can look into some other.
Right.
I know that my weight is definitely not helping things. But yeah, so we'll see.
But
we'll see what they say.
Kind of need to fix the knee to fix the fat.
Right. Because workouts most of them are painful.
Right.
I can't even kneel down without excruciating pain, even on like a pillow. Like there's no amount of padding that makes kneeling down bearable.
Right.
So yeah, so I'm excited for those appointments. I'm excited for getting my life together and crushing some goals and doing the damn thing.
Speaking of doing that damn thing, we got a huge giveaway.
We do. So shouts out to Courtney with Houston Acrylic. This was 100% like her idea. I didn't ask for it. You know, she offered it, and I said absolutely.
Right.
She wanted to offer a pack of acrylic sheets, and she may have already been thinking of this, but I suggested a pack that would, you know, in Riley Black colors. So they're all red and black. 1 second while I actually pull up the giveaway. So here's what's included. 5 sheets total.
5,
so
count them.
1 black pearl, 1 red pearl, 1 color carve red to black glitter, 1 red mirror, and 1 black and red chunky glitter.
Not chunky glitter?
Chunky glitter.
Okay.
So there's fine glitter.
We're
and
chunky.
No, but that's funny. And shipped free to US 48 states or Hawaii and Alaska. So the way that you enter that is you go to our Facebook group and you go find the pinned post that says giveaway. And you, if you haven't already, you subscribe to our YouTube channel.
That's right.
And if
hopefully you have already.
Once you have, or if you already have, you go to YouTube and you take a screenshot showing that you're subscribed, and you put that little screenshot in the comments, and you're entered.
And as always, Patreon members are automatically entered.
Automatically entered. So if you're a patron and you subscribed, you get 2 entries.
Oh, so if you're a Patreon and haven't subscribed, go subscribe now.
Yes. And then no one's taken me up on this one. This one is an easy extra entry, and that's invite your friends to the group. They do need to fill out the questions in order to get in the group, which is hard because you kind of have to give them a heads up that you're inviting them and to join, because it's just going to be if not, it's just going to be another Facebook notification. They probably won't even pay attention. But if you invite some friends to the group and they fill out the super easy questions and join the group, then you get an extra entry into the giveaway. So our group it's pretty good too. We're at 909 members.
So to get this right, if you're a Patreon member,
yes,
and you subscribe to the YouTube,
yes,
and you share it, that's 3 entries.
I'm giving you an entry per person you invite.
Oh, okay. So there you go.
So I mean, there's lots of chances.
You want this acrylic
to win, and I mean, obviously I'm biased, but it's pretty stuff.
Yeah. So if you want this acrylic,
you need to get in on it. So it ends the end of November. So get on it now.
So you have 2 days.
2 days. No. Usually when we announce stuff, but
because we're a week
they'll
ahead.
have a couple weeks to get it together. But don't forget, because you'll forget, like me.
Yeah, you'll have a couple weeks.
Yeah. I think that's all we got for the pre-show. I'm excited about our guest. Before we do our guest, let's do Will's ad.
Okay.
Will has a lot going on.
Yes, he does. He's
personally
a busy
and
man.
Business-wise. So he has not given me his ad script. So I stole one of his ads in one of the Facebook groups, and I'm just going to read it.
There we go.
So, good morning, fellow laser users. My name is Will, and I have a hoarding problem. So much so that I had to get a 3,200 square foot warehouse to store it all. I'd love to get my life together and start clearing space, so please take a look at what laser ready blanks I have available. Just to be clear, I am a hoarder, but also run a blanks company. Start preparing now for the busy season and don't wait until the last minute to get the supplies you'll need. I'd love to supply your business with the items to help you grow. I I always offer support, free jigs, tutorials, and lots of other perks. Do your shopping for 3M, pocket knives, hats, patches, bento boxes, cutting boards, acacia trays. I always have to say that slow. And over 200 other items. One of those being keychain thingies. He's our first authorized dealer. And we
There's
actually just secured a second authorized dealer.
But
I'm not gonna. That's too early to announce that one yet.
Stay
but,
tuned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
those knives are pretty cool that he's got.
They are really cool.
Pocket knives.
Yeah,
cool.
and if it wasn't so hard to sell them, I would get them. But like, I do everything on social media, and if I have to be careful about how I careful. I can't talk today. Don't judge me. It's just too much work for me to list.
Pocket knives or something.
Oh, come on. Everything is an issue.
But a pocket knife?
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course.
All right. Well, we'll get our guest online and we'll be right back. And we're back with our guest, Lizzy from House of Timber. How's it going?
Hello. It's going good over here. How are you guys?
Good.
Good. I see you're in the holiday spirit already.
Oh, yeah. This has started the day directly after Halloween because my 3-year-old sees me making Christmas ornaments. So try and explain to a toddler why our Christmas tree isn't up if we're making Christmas ornaments. So
Right. I mean, it's a valid question.
Yeah. Here's up. It's like logical to me. So here we are.
Right.
The Christmas rush is upon us.
Yes. I mean, I do want to take down our Halloween stuff and put up some Christmas stuff just because. So we're offering more physical products this year, which I didn't last year.
Right.
And so I know because of that, it's going to be harder for us to find time to decorate.
Right.
And I hate decorating like the week or two before because then I leave it up for like 2 months because I don't want to take it down because we just put all the work into putting it up. So
and like makers anyways are the ones we're like advertising things for the season. So we kind of have to have our season a little bit early. Like as soon as it went up, I actually was thinking, man, this is great. Now I can take pictures of my ornaments on an actual tree. Reference and stuff like that. So let's bring Santa Claus in the house. Let's go.
Well, JR thought there was a Halloween Santa.
A Halloween Santa?
Yeah. He
really?
He was like, "Oh, does Santa come?" I'm like, "No, it's not Santa." He's like, "Yeah, Halloween Santa."
He just wants gifts.
He just wants free gifts.
He's starting to catch on.
Right.
So how did you guys meet?
So I found her on social media. I'm pretty sure she was just like a suggested post or because and like if you follow several people that also, or if you're not following someone that like a bunch of your followers do, they'll be like, oh, you may know. Oh, where'd she go? She disappeared.
She pulled a Heather.
I'm still here.
She pulled a Heather.
It's totally a Heather. But it'll suggest like someone. And so I was like, oh, okay. And I love to like follow other makers because it's just like, to me, it's always interesting because a lot of us do a lot of different things. And even if we do the same thing, we do it in our own different ways. So I started following her and she cracks me up. So I was like, and then she, I think it was the other day, I don't know if I reached out to her before or after, but there was like a little wood peen like off to the side and she was like showing something on her saw and she was like, yes, that's a wood penis. And I was like, you're my people.
That's all it takes.
Because I'm telling you, you put someone on a scroll saw and you grab like a scrap piece of wood and I'm just like, okay, well the easiest things to like get your hands on and like get a feel for the scroll saw is just like, let's cut an outline. And there's 2 types of people in the world. They will draw a heart and that will be the first thing they scroll. They will draw a penis and that will be the first thing they scroll.
I love it.
And I think it's like I think it's just very defining as an individual, like who you are.
Right.
He gets one in the same.
I am wood peen. So the last person I was in the garage was like, man, that's your scroll saw. Let me try that. First thing they drew to scroll, a dick.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a heart inside of a penis.
Well, so remember that t-shirt design, which was not my idea, but when I made t-shirts, I saw a similar design. And you take a shirt that has a pocket and it looks like a heart up here, but then when you pull the pocket down, it's like a little hidden peen. Yeah.
Because that's where we keep our heart and our balls.
Oh, shut up. It's true.
It's all love. It's what love is love.
So that's how I found her. But so tell me how the heck did you get into all of this? And like, you have a crazy following right now too. I mean, like 100 and
But like, let's all put that into
1,000?
perspective, that it just comes and goes, because my core following is what I really focus on. Like,
Yeah.
I know my group of people, we all
Mhm.
know you'll have a dumb reel hit and you may
Oh,
get
yep.
an influx of followers. So that following came from a few reels that popped off, and I got 30,000 new followers in like a month. But have those
Wow.
followers purchased? No.
Right.
Have they commented? No. Have they
Right.
interacted? No. All they've done is tanked my engagement. And so all in all,
Yeah.
it's like I'm very thankful for the core group of people. And like,
Right.
I feel like each month passes, I have like a few more, like, a handful of more core people that I see showing up. And, those
Right.
are my people. But
Yeah.
social media aside, because, this is how we met too. You got to
Right.
put like, that is just a number. But I got started. Oh, I don't even know. It's like how far back in the story do we go?
So it's hard. So like, I mean, my story goes back to like when I mean, I was making crafty stuff as a child. So, I mean, it depends on how far back you go. Cause like, and I tried, like, we didn't try hard, but I tried like a couple businesses with my mom. We'd do like one like craft show, or we'd buy like one domain, and then, then we get into it, and then we'd be like, we'd find some like hurdle, and then it would kind of be like fizzle out. You know what I mean? Cause it just wasn't like, I feel like it wasn't that right thing.
Right.
And then eventually it was the vinyl cutter that I bought because of my 5-year-old. I wanted to make him those funny, inappropriate onesies, but not spend $20 on them every single time. So, yeah.
For me, it just runs deep. I was like, I shared a little bit about this yesterday, so maybe we'll just go dive in and talk about it. But I was raised as one of Jehovah's Witnesses, and you wouldn't think that there would be such a correlation between the two, but it's just such a different way of life that I do think it needs talked about more. And for me, you don't have what they call worldly association. So for me, there was no friends at school. You didn't hang out with those people that was worldly association. You could hang out with people and kids from the Kingdom Hall, but unfortunately at my Kingdom Hall, there was no kids my age. So I had 2 boy cousins, and then, it wasn't always okay for me to just be hanging out with these 2 boys. So really, as odd as it sounds, like I joke that Carol Duvall raised me, but we had a TV downstairs at the house, and then one in my parents' bedroom, and it had 8, 10, and 12. So we're talking like, put the antenna up and that's what you get. So it's not, they're not Amish in the sense that they can't watch TV, but that was very limited in what's in our house, and the computers were public and all public access to those things. So there was a Carol Duvall craft show, and when I tell you Carol raised me, I was like, let's go, Carol. She was my best friend. I watched that show religiously. And I just loved it. I loved making things. And there's just something about like that being the one place that I actually got to be happy as a kid. So I promised you I wasn't happy in the Kingdom Hall. I wasn't happy going Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday, spending my life dedicated to my parents' cause. Like, I did not like that, but I loved crafting.
I had a coworker who was Jehovah's Witness, and like we were really like as close as we could be at work, but like we could never hang out like outside of work. Like that just wasn't even like allowed, or like couldn't consider it. And like we had so much in common, it felt like, but like she was so restricted by what she was allowed to do and what her schedule already entailed with with, like she said, the Tuesday, Wednesday, like all the things that you had to do. Hi, Chris.
She got her finger over there.
Oh,
It's really restricting, and you don't get a chance to be you. And that's what I've said about that religion is your identity as a person. It really is stripped. And if I like think about the struggles that I've had as an adult, it's because you go to therapy and the therapist is like, is that your thought? And I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, well, is that you thinking that? You're a person inside of there. Is that your thought, or is that your thought based on fear of if you feel this way, there's an
Right.
entire organization of people who will come down on you.
Right.
You're making, thoughts and decisions based out of fear of these other people, but what do you think? And when that
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, go get it, baby. That starts when you're a child. And so for me, there's no identity that I had other than, I've said this before. I didn't have I wasn't raised by my parents. I was raised by Jehovah's Witnesses. And I wasn't a child. I was a Jehovah's Witness child.
Yeah.
But crafting, I tell you, like that was me. That was me getting to be creative. That was me getting to like take what was in my head and
Your
make something
outlet too. Yeah.
And that is something that stuck with me. So when I moved into my adult life, I got married a few months after I turned 18 years old, like as a child in this Kingdom Hall. And it was horrible. It was awful.
Yeah.
But oddly enough, his dad owned a lumber yard. And so then there was this access to tools. I'm so sorry.
You're fine. We know the struggle.
Yeah. We have. I mean, we tried to do this podcast with JR and the thank
I should have thought about a week that maybe I didn't have her, but she's here and this is real life too.
Yeah. We've done it with our son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How old is he?
He's
5.
The oldest is 5. The youngest is 16 months.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Wow. So you guys have your hands full.
Yep.
But it was like at that phase that then I had access to tools, and that access to tools was like crafting gone crazy. I was like, you mean to tell me that there is more than scissors in this world? I could get a whole dang saw. Let's go.
Right.
And so it became my outlet, inside of that marriage. That marriage was doomed to fail regardless. We were 2 kids that got married in an organization. He formed a really bad drinking problem that, they tell you that God will help you and, he's just sick. So this is all fine. Like, it's just a big mess. Like that doesn't actually fix those problems and they're not equipped to fix those things. But heaven forbid we ever call authorities until the authorities do get called. And then the one that gets kicked out is me, which is fine. Best decision ever. But now there's just been these like 2 life phases of mine where my only outlet was something maker related. Yeah. And then it's like, you're 24, you get disfellowshipped. Jehovah's Witnesses don't get educations, which I don't think people realize. The men will go to like a VOTEC college and then they only pursue further education typically if it's going to be something they do for the organization, like a lawyer for the organization or on a medical committee in the organization. But as a woman, I only went to 9th grade. So for me, I'm like, what am I gonna do out here having no education? I've been a wife, pioneered, and worked at McAllister's Deli. And I'm 24 years old. Like, what am I gonna do? We don't have it, baby. You can sit on this pillow though. I threw the elephant chair away.
Oh.
Put your iPad on the floor, baby. That's a great idea. And so for me, like it's like 24 and you're thrown out into the world. And what does me do? Dumb me is like, let's go to Nashville with some guy we met at a bar because we're free. Like, let's get some tattoos. Like, so here I am. And I don't regret that decision at all. Terrible. It just goes to show you the lack of life experience. But I go there.
Right.
And,
I mean, with your freedom because you felt like you didn't have it. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So the first chance I got to pop out of town, I would have went with anybody. Like it was not the person. It was just a shuttle.
Yep.
Sad as it was to say, you go experience that relationship. And that was like my first, I guess, what they would call worldly experience. And it taught me a lot. But that was really where I started to dive in to my craft more. In the apartment that we were living in, there was a girl, Ashley, and we just connected because I was walking my bulldogs one day.
Love
and
it.
she's like, oh my
Your
gosh.
dogs are adorable, by the way.
They stink.
Of course they do, but they're cute.
They're very cute and very stinky. But walking them, she's, we connected, and she did crafts, and she repainted furniture primarily.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, man, I love to do that kind of stuff. Like, I have a few tools with me. Mm-hmm. And so, I had this junky miter saw and like a few drills. And so she would ask me, do you think you can make me, steps for my dog to get on the bed? And, could we do this? So we were doing, the Anna White kind of builds and pocket hole stuff. And so we did that, but they got a little better and better. And she's like, Lizzy, you should post this stuff online. And I'm like, no. Social media? Are you kidding me? Like, I may not be a Jehovah's. I may no longer be a Jehovah's Witness, but that is where Satan is social media.
Right.
They tell you no. I'm like, ninth grade was the last year I went to school because the worldly influences were too much. And you want me to put myself on the internet? Like, no way.
Look at you.
Yeah, it just goes to show how
your 115,000 followers.
It goes to show how ingrained those silly things are. But I was like really worried about it. I was like, no. So at first it was like
happens though. I mean, like, I don't know how old you are now, but like it still has to, because again, like that's your everyday life for years. Like you still at this point have spent more years of your life in it than you have out of it, I assume, because you don't look 40 plus. So you know what I mean? So like it's still probably gonna like show up here and there, I would assume.
Well,
I will have to be 54 years old before I've spent more life out of it than in.
Yeah.
It's like I'm still 24 years away from that.
Right.
And it's like you think that those thoughts, but that for me, when it came to the social media, I was like, ooh, they always really warned you against that. Like if someone in the Kingdom Hall had social media, like they were kind of on the outskirts. The weirdest thing. So I was like, I'll do it, but I won't show my face. And then all of a sudden we get this post up. People realize that it's Ashley and Lizzy from Sawdust Junkies. I think we did that it was like, two girls refinishing this furniture. Mm-hmm. We did a 500 follower giveaway. Mm-hmm. And we just couldn't believe we have 500 followers. We're like, oh my gosh, there's 500 people in the world. Like that's crazy.
Right.
We did a giveaway, and I had kind of piddled with the scroll saw at that point, just making the like thankful, blessed. Like I love how we just have to like mark our home as if we don't know that you flush the toilet. But like I was making those kinds of things. And
live, laugh, love.
Yeah, just remind yourself when you're miserable and depressed because life is hard. Just live, laugh, love, guys. You're fine. Like what the heck? So we did a giveaway, and I was like, I'll give away whatever sign you guys pick, like no limitations on it. And someone ordered their business logo, number one. And then after that, it was kind of new on the scene. Instagram was so different, 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago, whatever it was. Dang, maybe even 4 years ago when we started. So it was so different at the time, and that just kind of took off. So all these garage makers and people starting out on social media were like, dope, could I get a sign for my garage? You know, at the time, making like $100, $300 signs, and they were trash. Like there's no way. I go back and I look at like the first 50 and I'm like, I need to agree.
Right.
Every one of these is a charitable donation just to like apologize.
Right.
For what I made you give me money for. But that's really where it started. And then the platform from there just kind of grew. When I was scrolling kind of first on the scene, it's not that scrolling didn't exist. It's just you say first on the scene because it's kind of first. There's a trash truck outside. Whoa. Oh, is that cool, crew? He's picking up our trash. Say bye, trash truck. Thank you. No. So it's the little things in life.
Yeah.
Have the kids to remind you that life isn't all miserable. It's wonderful.
Right.
You're trash, and that's so cool. But after that, really, it just kind of took off. And on the scene at the time, it's like I was seeing a lot of older style scrolling, like, the fretwork kind of scrolling where it's like super intricate and like generalize it that like the old men, but like the old men scroll guys.
Like, I mean, it was the same thing with the laser world, like around the same time, like when us women showed up on the scene and they made like those, you know, cute, pretty live, laugh, love signs. You know, it was like the men didn't want any parts of that. They wanted to engrave their guns and build their American flag signs. And he's like, yeah,
sounds about right.
Yes, totally, yeah.
That's what I agree. It's like I saw a lot of fretwork, a lot of the animals. Like, this is my lion. I have, 300 hours of fretwork with my number 2 spiral blade, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, yeah, but it's ugly. Like, that's cool, but that's ugly. Like, okay. But and so for me, when it came onto the scene, I'm like, I want some stuff that I actually want to put in my home. And the scene at Nashville, of course, was still like very farmhousey. It still is. But I got to like words, and I got to make some nursery signs. And then I love to draw. I don't necessarily think I'm the best at it, but even drawing flowers.
Yeah.
Drawing flowers, and then I got to shape them for these nursery signs. So the stuff before that was done with just like really cheesy appliques and stuff, I was scrolling out of wood. And then when it came to like my flower kind of that method, like it wasn't necessarily something that I saw around either. Like no one is the first one to do anything. It exists. But I kept, seeing these like really chunky flowers with no dimension, and everything was flat. I'm like, man, the best part about scrolling is you can do this in so many layers.
Right.
So then I started like sanding them smooth and shaping it. And I feel like at the time there was like a group that was kind of figuring this like style out. So I put out a few tutorials that just said like, hey, I think we're wasting material here. You can cut this out of one thickness and you can glue it together at different heights. And then if you want to, you can put 3 layers together and stack and eliminate. And now you can have 2 of the same thing, just at alternating layer. And so I put out some tutorials with this stuff, and then this community just appeared. It was like, wow, like-minded people doing the same thing. And now we're using this app to connect us.
Right.
And there's a group of people that aren't.
Well, and it's people interested in either being creative or have an idea of something they want to create but don't know how to do it. And finding a tutorial like just really launches you into becoming, like either your true self or someone you didn't even know existed on the inside. Like, it was I started, for as far as that goes, like with the Glowforge, but the Glowforge group and community was huge because I didn't know anyone with a laser. I didn't have any friends to go ask questions. I didn't know that those people existed on social media really, because it just wasn't in my circle. And so having those people who put out those couple like tutorials or who would answer questions when you had them, like it was huge because I had to teach myself, but with the help of the community.
Yeah. And I'm all self-taught too. And certain things like, it's just now we have a much better way of finding answers to questions that we have. But I felt like at the time, like who was going to teach me how to make this flower look like it looked in my head? And it wasn't around then, or it wasn't easily found.
Right.
And so I was able to kind of like define a style in something. And then the curiosity just took me everywhere. So I'm very self-taught in those methods, but with that, everyone's like, how'd you figure out how to do that? And I'm sure you get the same questions. And it's like, sometimes I just want to shake people and I'm like, aren't you curious? Like, you don't have to have the answer just to try something. Like if you mess up, you mess. It's crunchy. Yeah. So for me, it was just a lot of like, I wonder if I can make it look like this. And then looking at the big commercial signs, like there's this dope account I follow called Tinkering Monkey. And they make, signs for Starbucks and these crazy outdoor things. But for my application, I'm like, you know what? I bet I could do standoffs. Like, I bet I could figure this out. And then they look like crap. They weren't lined up. And so I was like, okay, now I know that these need to be in a straight line. These look like my bulldog's freaking teeth. This is trash. So and then I'm like, wait, this wood dowel is breaking easy. What if I use metal? And then I'm like, well, this glue's crap. What if I use it? And so I've learned from a lot of experimentation.
Yeah. Trial and error.
Yeah, when people start, and it's like sometimes people try and gather the 50 answers before they dive in. I'm like,
yeah, and they expect the first one to be perfect because they have all the information. It's like you have their information, but you need to take those things and see what works best for you and your application. Because I can't tell you how many times people suggested like a glue to me or a paint to me or a method to me, and I try it and I'm like, this sucks. And it could have been just because it was my first time. It could have been because it legitimately sucked, or it just could have been that it wasn't like the right fit for me and what I was making, you know? So you have like what is I think is it Steve Harvey who says it, like, if you aren't failing, you aren't trying. One of them's like, you know, if you have to fail, like you have to try it, you have to fail. And then from those quote failures is how you learn how to make it better and turn it into a success.
Right.
I totally agree.
Yeah, it is cute.
Yeah. We went to Disney World one time, and I'm like, how does a child's memory work? Because you tell me that she's not going to remember this stuff when she's 15, but she dang well remembers where she puts every single toy of hers, every single squishy. She goes to her dad for a week, and then she comes back, and she's like, yeah, I put my one tiny baby hippo squishy on top of this, in this drawer. And I'm like,
there's the same one, except his shoes this morning.
Let's not talk about this morning. It was not a good morning. I was tired.
Baby, you can mix up sand. Did you know that? Different colors.
What? No, you can't.
Not we need to bring back those crafts where you get like a jar and you pour like different layers of sand into it to like make those like layered designs.
He wants to mix Play-Doh all the time, and it's not allowed in my house.
Yeah, but
my kid has finally discovered that if we close the lid to the Play-Doh, we can play with it longer. And I'm like,
what? Wow. See, so we'll buy the Play-Doh that
he can mix.
Yeah, you can buy the Play-Doh that he can mix, and then the other
what
Play-Doh.
What happens is once you let him mix one Play-Doh, now all the Play-Doh is allowed to be mixed.
Yeah.
You can't open that Pandora's box. So if you don't want the
y'all just gonna have brown Play-Doh. That's the only thing.
That's it.
I don't want to limit his creativity, but it makes me tweak.
But you limit his creativity.
Shut up. Whatever. Leave me alone.
And it doesn't help that the box shows you like the blue popsicle with the yellow sprinkles. He wants to do it.
Yeah, but
then you don't let him.
The second he does it, then he squishes it together and it's ruined.
Okay, that's fine.
Whatever.
Then you throw the Play-Doh away.
Let the child blossom, Mom.
Yeah. Whatever, I'll work on it. Maybe.
You should have seen. So he wanted to. The first time he wanted to mix match his shoes. You were like, oh my God. I let him come out. He's like, I want to wear this one and this one. I'm like, all right.
But he was going to school.
No, I think he was going to Chuck E. Cheese.
Oh, okay.
You don't even have to wear shoes in Chuck E. Cheese. There's no rules in Chuck E. Cheese.
Even then, you still were like, what are you doing?
Yeah. I mean, I still questioned it, yes. Yeah. But then I saw his smile and I allowed it to happen, just not at school. I don't want to pick on him at school because then I'll have to punch a kid and that's frowned upon.
It's funny when you let your kid do certain things and then you have to then put boundaries on. I'm like, no, but we only do that at home. So
right.
When I were at the park yesterday, and I don't know why this park doesn't have bathrooms. Like, this is a park for children. We need a toilet.
Right.
And she comes up to me and she goes, Mama, I have to pee. And I'm like, oh, dang, well, I guess we got to leave the park. We have to go home. She's like, I'll just pee in the grass. And I'm like, oh, yeah, we actually only do that in Mommy's backyard. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, we have boys. The whole world's a bathroom.
Yeah, which is great and not at the same time because, like, at home, he damn near gets naked to pee. Mm-hmm. And so if for some reason we do have to pee in public, he gets naked.
No, his pants down.
The last time I did it, which was not recent, but it was like he was probably 4. But like I think you were at the hospital with Jackson.
Okay.
And so we were in the parking lot and there was like nowhere to really go. It was like late at night. And so I had to like let him pee like in the parking garage, and like he wanted to like let it all hang out, and I'm like, no baby, like I'm trying to like block him, like keep the door there, like
kids are wild. Crew hates being messy, which is a great thing. Like she hates having sticky hands. If she eats and her hands like there's something gross, she'll like hold it here until you wipe it, like which is great. But then like at the house, she's like, I don't want to be messy, and she'll take off her clothes, and so we'll have dinner with her butt naked, which is like rock out until you're at a restaurant, and she's like, I don't want to be messy, and I'm like, no.
Wait, but
gotta be messy. Like you have to be clothes in a restaurant
just for a little bit.
I mean, I'm sure when you're an adult,
you go to restaurants. Yeah, we don't do that anymore.
No, we haven't been to. Well, actually, after this podcast, we are planning to go to lunch.
Yeah, but without the kids,
right? Well, yeah, that's the only way to live life now. Without the kids, we gotta wait till they're in school and daycare, and then we can live.
For me, I think Crew and I have a different dynamic now. She's bratty and she's totally a toddler. I am not a mom out here like pretending she is an angel. Like we have moments, but she doesn't have the same dynamic because she's never with the two parents together. I think something happens. Like I've watched it with my friends' kids where like,
I'm leaving.
If one person says no, then they can go pit it on the other parent. And Crew is just like, if mommy says no, who you gonna go to now? Like who? Like who? Try me. Go ask Peppa Pig. She agrees with me.
Right.
I turn on Peppa. So for me, it's just kind of like we have a slightly different dynamic. So far, like,
for now, until she's like, I'm gonna call daddy when she gets older.
Yeah. I mean, so we are, at least because of
he does pit us against each
other. He totally does. He'll ask me and then immediately go ask you. And then especially usually we're on the same page.
Well, especially if he knows like I'm in the kitchen or something and I can't hear.
Well, then he'll immediately come in my office and be like, Daddy said yes. And I was like, cool. I said no first. Right. So, but he sees me being creative, and so I definitely want to work on, like, as far as that goes, of like if there's something that he has interest in, no matter his age, of trying to like feed that and allow him to do that, and that kind of stuff. And like,
except if it comes to mixing Play-Doh.
Shut up. And so he'll see me working, and he's always so interested in like what I'm making and how I'm doing it. And he compliments it, which is so cute. Like, I don't even think like he doesn't even like, I don't know that that's necessarily taught. Maybe it is because like we compliment him like when he's coloring or something like that. But like the tumblers I made yesterday, he came in my office after going to the ER and was like, saw all the tumblers lined up that I had just made that day. And he was like, oh, these are beautiful, Mommy. And I was like, what was that? It was so cute. Like,
you get a child's approval because they have no filter. They'll straight up, she'll tell me, Mommy, I don't like your brown hair. That's the color of poop. And I'm like, dang. No. I don't make it in.
Call him. I'm not going to answer that.
No, you're not going to answer that call.
No. It's an unknown number.
Okay.
But
you're not the first one.
Yeah, I'm like, dang, I don't even have friends. Who's calling me now? When you get your kids' approval, I think it comes from just such like an authentic place of like actual wonder that it makes me so happy. Like
I'll have to send you a reel or a TikTok that I made. And it was like, how you film everything, right? And so I was filming me. I think I was like taking the masking off of these like potatoes that I made because they were like part of a baby milestone set that was like crawfish related. And so they were like little potatoes. And like, I'm just taking the masking off, and he like genuinely like walks up, and I'm recording, and he's like, hi Mama, and he was like, oh, that's beautiful, or that's so pretty, or he was like, oh, it warmed my heart so much because it was just so genuine and so cute. And like they are the best hype men. They will bring you down in a second.
They'll straight up tell you something's ugly, but they'll also tell you look good. I just posted something just similar. I was working on that JAI design cosign with all those flowers. We're in the office, and she's like, these are like the same. And it was this double stack. I'm like, yeah, baby, it's kind of like a puzzle. I'll show you how it goes together. And she goes, ooh, I like that. And I'm just thinking like, done. I don't care. I need 2 people in the world to like this sign. The person it's going to and my kid.
Right.
And I'm set.
Right. So you're golden.
My thing. Oh, go ahead.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
I was going to say my thing with crew, like, I think some people ask, like, how are you a single mom, whatever. And it's like, single mom is great. Let's like.
I don't know how you do it.
Shout out to them all. But I'm not a single parent. Like, I'm a single mom in the sense of when I have her, but she has a dad, and she gets time with him. And it's the mothers who don't have that then I really start to wonder. But it's like, I get my time. But the times with her, it really is challenging. But for me, I'm like, one day, I need to make these kid clothes that say like big helper. I have this little design for like these toddlers. It says big helper because she's like, I'm mommy's big helper. I'm like, yeah, you are. And sometimes it's terrible, but it's if you shut your kid down and you shut off that creativity or they see you doing something, that is the thing. This is our passion that we're chasing. Our child shows interest in it and we're going to tell them, no, don't touch.
Right.
That seems a little backwards to me. I won't tell you, no, don't touch. I'll tell you we have to be careful, but you can touch it. You can pick up this piece. Like it's intended to have this use. So like, that's okay.
Right.
And I'm not going to tell you, no, that's dangerous. I'll just tell you, hey, that's sharp. We have to be careful right here. If you want to use it, you have to do this with mom. And so for me, I'm like, our kids, I'm sure it's rough to get them in there, but slow work is still work.
Yeah.
This is your interest. Let them be a part of it. Take the
it's
time.
memories too.
It's memories too. And one day when they ask you, hey, can I help? That help's going to be real help. Because you didn't deny their help when they were little. And like, she's all ready. She comes in. If I need pieces of blue tape for marking up a glue up, she'll give me my pieces of tape. If I need the door held open because I'm carrying my sign in, she'll do that. If we're taking pictures, she'll know to get the tripod. It's like my 3-year-old is already giving me legitimate help. And it was hell to get to this point.
Right.
But now she starts to understand and she'll want to paint her things and she knows what to do. It's just not absolute chaos working with her when I do have her because, I can save those times for the things that we can do like together a little easier, the things that I know that she's capable of. But we have a good time. So I love that your kids get involved and they get to like see what you're doing. And I love seeing that. I'm like, don't shut them out from all that stuff. Like we're passionate about
that. Because like if especially if it's a completed piece, like he's a wrecking ball. So I don't want to make it again. So I will legit be like, don't touch that. Like we can look at it. Let's look with our eyes.
But she knows those rules. I'm talking about during the phase where you want another candy? All your Halloween candy's in that white bag. Rules don't apply right now.
No, not while you're trying to do something else.
Right there, use your eyeballs. She likes to pretend she can't see things so that I have to get up and get it. And I'm like, you can see it. But
I guess if you can't find them, you don't get any Halloween candy.
Right there in that white bag.
She's like, man, you should do more podcasts, Mom.
Right?
You do this all the time.
Mom, have you ever thought of starting your own podcast?
Yeah, I do this every day. See what you got in there. She was going for her candy like money. She was just like, ooh, what's it?
If you started one with her, I mean, that would be pretty adorable. I've considered doing it with JR just because he's cute and some of the things he says is pretty damn funny.
Then when you put a microphone in front of him, then he clams up.
He does. He would get comfortable though, like over time, I think.
Yeah, I think
because
so.
He's like he's the type where like, God forbid if I record him doing something, the second I stop recording, he's like, let me see. Actually, I haven't even finished. Most of the videos end with him stopping doing whatever he's doing and saying, let me see. And then I stop recording because now he's coming around to look at the other side of the camera.
He sees the camera. Give me one and I'll open one. She sees the camera come out and she's either like, no, don't take my picture, or she'll ham it up.
Yeah.
We're gonna eat all of it.
He likes to ham it up. If I'm trying to do something, he's like trying to get in the frame.
Unless he's doing it when he's mad, then he's like, I don't.
Yeah.
He's not having any parts of that.
See,
But that's
I'm
I'm videoing it to document, to show you what I'm going through while you're
Or to
at
show
work
him.
sometimes. Yes, to show him either
How
later
he's
or in
acting.
that moment.
Yeah.
I love looking back at like work and little videos and see crew like popping in and out and just like seeing her grow up with all of my little creations.
Yeah.
It's funny. She's like a whole functioning human now. So I'm like, where did my baby go? Like, where did that bug?
So how you mostly do like other kind of power tools, I guess, but how does your laser work then? Like, how do you mix the two? What laser do you have, by the way?
So for me, I just have a Glow Forge, and full disclosure, I have it because they sent it to me. That was
I like these ones.
okay. We'll pick another. And so, but the thing is, like, it's like the gateway drug. The Glow Forge is a great hobby laser. I don't think it's the best. So I had to buy it back basically in like referral. So Skittles. So I have that one. And for me, I'm always very honest when people are asking about it. I'm like, I think it's a great entry. And it really did get me comfortable with how like laser files work. Same. Because for me, it's like I never knew. Thank you, baby. I never knew what was involved or like what it needed to cut or where the cut lines needed to be. Thank you, love. And so for me, it got me really comfortable with that. And it's something great to incorporate into my scroll pieces. So it's like I was able to offer the little maker skulls with acrylic faces and the Painty Bitches acorns. And I was able to do all of that stuff. So I think it's a great gateway. But if you're running full production on something, like it's not going to cut fast. However, it does engrave really pretty. And so there's like
slowly but pretty. Yeah.
Slowly but pretty. Okay.
Yeah, I remember when the first time I ever did like a full sheet engrave, I think it was like one design, but like repeated to fit the whole 12 by 20-ish sheet. It said something like 3 or 4 hours, and I was like, shit.
It's like goodness, right?
Okay, maybe I need to rethink.
Exactly. So when it comes to like production stuff, it's kind of not.
Can I have the paper that doesn't get sticky?
I put it on your board right here.
It won't get sticky.
It won't get sticky if you put it directly in your mouth and don't slobber all over everything. So, put them right here. Get your plate, your Horton plate. That'd be perfect.
Whoa.
Suggestive, like.
Right.
But I think the same thing. So if someone's asking like, what should I get? I'm like, well, what's your space? What's your goal? What products are you making?
Well, and how comfortable you are with those things. So as much as like I know that Glowforge has its like faults and limitations, I still to this day, even owning an industrial laser, know that there's no way, like not no way. I mean, if I really was like dedicated and, was like, pushed and got help and, looked at tutorials and stuff, I could have done it because people do it all the time. They start with industrial lasers all the time. But for me personally, starting with the Glowforge was like a baby step, and it made it so that like they weren't so scary, that like I could handle it because I had some experience. I had more understanding with how they worked and what they do and, how to use them to their full potential. But for me, there's no way I could have started with like an industrial laser first. And like I did go to like the OM Tech ones because those were so much more like technical, and you need a lot more tinkering and you need a lot more mechanical knowledge. And I don't have that. It doesn't interest me at all. So you got to find which one works the best for you and your current,
your current setup and your current space. Like I don't have space for anything else right now. I couldn't go in the garage. I'm in a 1-car garage. I've got, a cabinet saw, a joiner, a planer, an outfeed, like a big dust collector that it couldn't fit. So for me, literally just on space constraints, the Glowforge is the only option for me right now.
Yeah.
And then if I get some extra space cleared up, then I'll move on to something bigger. But in the space that I was in previously, I had space for something larger, and I had tried to order the Chinese red and black. And it just goes to show that, like, you kind of get what you get. And if you're not going to take the time to have the mechanical knowledge to fix certain things, and if it can arrive and it's great, you best hope that it's perfect. But mine, they didn't even send.
I don't like this.
Okay, thank you. She's just like sampling candy and changing her mind. I'm like, who doesn't like a Twizzler? Right. And so for me, it came with like the gantry was racked on it, and they kept calling it a refund if I wanted to straighten the gantry, but basically, you know, it wouldn't go back because it wasn't sitting on the bar square. So they offered me some refund. They forgot to send a side, like the side panel.
Whoa, she got a full size M&M.
See the mom talks.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm still amazed that you got a full size peanut M&M.
I know.
We went to my friend's good neighborhood.
Oh yeah.
Don't worry, my neighborhood doesn't pass out the full size candy bars. Don't worry.
My neighborhood doesn't do shit for Halloween.
But I actually ended up sending that red and black one back. It was just, unless I was going to take the time to actually take the machine apart, rebuild the machine. The laser tube, I'm sure, was fine, but the machine itself was crap.
Right.
And so for me, after that, I just got out of the laser world. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to use a scroll saw. I love it. I love teaching it. And this is great.
And there's ways to make the Glowforge work too, especially like for you, where what you do, you don't need a huge like influence from the laser. So, you know, like I think I've seen you engrave like the back of certain like smaller things, and it's perfect for that. And maybe on your bigger signs where you can't engrave the back, you can engrave like a little like adorable veneer sticker, or like there's ways, you know, to go around it. Or if engraving takes too long, you can create some really cool like scored designs that just do the score line instead of the actual engraving. So there's ways around it to make it work, especially if in the beginning it's the only thing that fits like your budget and your space.
And just getting started in your goals. Like if someone wants to start a cute business doing like nursery items, little baby milestones, and like small scale stuff, why would you even want to mess with anything big?
Right. I mean, that's true. That's a good point too, because like with my Mira 9, it's overkill, honestly, for a lot of the stuff that I even do. So if you're doing small baby stuff or just earrings or keychains or those kind of things, a small Glowforge, small Mira would be perfect for that. So
I agree. And so when it comes to that, for like my laser stuff, the laser will always be the accent to like my scrolling. And hopefully in the future.
Do you like green?
Yeah. I have a secret for you. All the colors actually taste the same. Do you know that?
Do you like green?
Yeah. How about you?
But do you like green?
But do you like green?
I like red.
No. She likes red. She likes this color.
Oh, that one. Hand it to me.
But I think it's a great gateway. For me, I use it as an accent. And eventually I would love to have space for a bigger laser. And that would be when I get into more production. But I think misconception in the scroll saw community. So for people, that one's for you.
Thank you.
Is that scrolling isn't profitable or can't be as profitable. And I'm like, so my friend Lauren, you know, she uses a bunch of lasers. Her work is incredible.
Yeah.
But what she hasn't done yet, and like I'm not calling her out or talking trash, we talked about this too, is she hasn't quite upgraded her backers yet, or to work with hardwood on her backers. So most of what I'm charging for is on the sign itself. You're paying for the woodwork of it. And then what I'm putting on top, the scrolling, is like a lot of times the most basic part of it.
Right.
So when it comes to the introducing a laser into the scroll world, I think scrollers have this misconception that they won't be able to keep up with, or they won't be able to make income as solely a scroll saw artist. And that is totally a misconception.
Yeah.
I mean, the mosaic that I'm working on now, the large scale one that I just posted, It's massive. That was a $5,100 sign.
Nice.
That's what I charged for it. That's what someone paid for it.
But it's a lot of work that goes into it.
It's a lot of work, but I'm not making that on every sign. So for me, I'm like, that's not something that I'm mass producing. So I just choose to make my income a little differently. I want to make one sign for $5,000 instead of 10 signs for $500 because that's the scale of operation I can manage. I don't know, baby. So that's one of the things where I think a scroll saw artist starts to think I have to have a laser, otherwise I'm never going to be able to do production. But sometimes it's like if you upgrade the materials that you're working with and your backers, the scrolling is the least expensive part of your sign. Yeah. So then I incorporate the laser when it comes to, the tagline on a sign. I don't need to scroll custom woodworking in some tiny little font. I can pop it on the laser and let my talents go elsewhere. So my goals with the laser are maybe a little bit different. I use it as I use it as an accent to my big customs, and then I'm so sorry. But then I go kind of production on like smaller pieces, like the little mini maker schools or little Christmas ornaments and stuff like that. It's fun for me to pop on the Glow Forge, but it's not my bread and butter income. So I think when it comes to even like, I get asked, why do you use a scroll saw versus a laser? Or what's the difference between a laser and a CNC? It's your business goals that are the difference, because it's how you choose to make your income, what you want to dive into. My passion is woodworking and the wood material. So I dove into that. And then you can use either 3 of the machines to pop the things on top of it. Right. So eat this one. The one that you have chewed.
Of course.
Thank you. I was tasted it so good because it had your slobber on it. Is this recording? I need to know.
Yes, of course it is. Oh, I love it.
But I would love
to be in the name of the title of the show. It's totally going to be Lizzy and Crew.
Yeah, I mean, full on in it.
I'll show her my new garden.
You want to show her your new garden?
How about my trampoline?
We're not going to take trampoline. The garden. Where's the trampoline?
You can show me later.
Yeah, we'll have to show her.
You can send pictures or video.
Yeah. But I think it's like, it's your. Come to our house.
Oh. I'm on my way. In a few months, maybe.
Yeah, I would love that. I think it's your business goals. Okay, go upstairs and get your pink cup. She won't go upstairs without me. I'm like, can you do anything? Can you just go? I love you to death. Drive you crazy. I think it's your business goals with it. I would love to get a larger laser to where, when I come up with the design, I can, batch out 10 of them. And then keep batching backers at the same time.
Well, and I've seen a lot of scroll saw artists that then go from okay, they made this on the scroll saw, but then now they convert the design to make it work for the laser. And then the laser cuts it for them while they're doing other stuff on the scroll saw. And they still do the shaping and the layering and all that. There's a girl that makes those wooden toys. So it's like thick wooden toys, and she, cuts them, she engraves them on her laser, but then actually cuts them out on her scroll saw because it's it's too thick to have been cut on a laser. And even if she had the laser that could cut through that material, it'd have the burned edges. Standing it.
What is?
Yeah, and I think that there's a time and place for each tool. So I would love to incorporate. No, I can't guess what it is. There's a time and place for each tool, and I would love to incorporate a laser into the stuff more. But it is true. I just did this sharp custom cutting sign. I wouldn't want a laser burn on the edge of those maple letters.
Right.
I just wouldn't want. I wouldn't want that.
Well, and then it'd be more work to remove it. And depending on how detailed it is, you can't always remove it either. Yeah.
And so for anybody who's asking, I think the number one question I get asked is why a scroll saw versus this machine or that. But my thing with the scroll saw isn't necessarily the end product. My thing and why I will always teach its capabilities is because it's underrated. People don't know the abilities. They look at maybe a sign like mine or other makers, and they're like, "Oh, I bet she's running a big CNC for this." And it's like,
yeah,
it's accessible.
On the red apple.
Go get it. It's accessibility. So if you tell someone who's like,
Mommy, I need to make
a nap in AP, I can't wait. It's like accessibility. So it's like you tell someone in a different situation in life or someone underprivileged that they can start their own business.
Yeah.
We want to empower that person. Tell them that it's going to cost the price of a massive laser. So you're going to spend $10,000. That's not empowering. Tell them
Right.
you have to buy a CNC that's going to cost them $5,000. That's not empowering.
Right.
Tell them they can do it for $250 with the scroll saw they found on Marketplace. That's empowering.
Right.
Have it. And so that's my goal with the scroll saw. Do I think it's, the best business model? Maybe not for everybody. If you want
Right.
to dive into the woodworking aspect of it and add more value into your signs like that, where you're truly making a few $1,000s each piece that you're making, then it's sustainable.
Mommy,
Right.
If your goal is to
my boo-boo's getting hurt.
if your goal is to do production pieces like that, then I think the laser is absolutely necessary.
Yeah.
Can you help me fix you with water and soap?
Can I do what here?
Listen, on this episode, you need to do a compilation
Mommy,
just
wash
her,
it
and
off.
then her facial expression.
Wash it off.
Do you
Wash
do you know
it
what it means when somebody's working? What does it mean when
No.
somebody's working? That they're busy.
off. Can you help me fix this one? Can you help me?
Just go back where you came from.
No.
Sometimes,
Mama, get me out.
It's so funny that I mean, it doesn't help for camera and the microphone, but I don't know what she's saying most of the time. But 'cause it's not your kid,
Right.
you have your own language decoder
Right.
and what they're saying because of what they've been exposed to, and you've heard them say it before and you figured it out before.
Yeah.
It's so funny, even as another parent, a lot of times you can't understand other young kids
Right.
because it's their language.
yeah, we speak crew in this house, and she speaks well, but still,
Yeah.
there's certain things that I'm like, I never want to go away.
Mommy, it has.
Yeah, there's some words that JR says wrong that we
Mhm.
do not correct,
Yeah.
which is so funny.
Like Noga bars.
So yeah, Noga bars. That one's really cute.
Oh, that is cute.
He calls his iPad, which is not an iPad, it's like a Apple or
Fire.
a
No,
Fire,
no, it's a
Amazon Fire.
Yeah.
So he, instead of calling it an iPad, he calls it an eye patch. And so, I would try to correct him in the beginning, and it never really worked. And I was like, it's an eye patch. And so the other day, last night, John called it an eye patch because that's what he calls it every single day. And he goes, it's a tablet, Daddy. And we're like, okay. This is your term. What are you talking about?
We gave you permission.
Right?
She says cup up older.
Oh.
So she says, "Can you put my drink in my cup up holder?" And I'm like, if anybody ruins this for me, you're dead. And then I don't know why, because I don't say it. I say forgot, but she says got for. And so she'll say, Mommy, you got for my shoes. You got for my drink. You got for me. At first, I'm like, what is she saying? And then I realized what was happening. But in her brain,
right,
I can say forgot, but she only hears and says got for.
Yeah.
And the other one is just something she came up with, but
I
put in the whole thing.
That I understood. That was Fat Kid. That was Fat Kid.
Yeah.
I got that one.
JR says he's 5-year-olds.
5-year-olds.
Yeah, I love that one.
Yes. Her other one, which she did on her own, and I won't say the real one, but Lime, because I will not ruin this. And she's getting to the age I feel like it's about to be ruined for me.
Mhm.
But she's like, there's a lemon. And then I was like, oh, and then what's this? And she says a green lemon. And I'm like, yep.
I mean, touche. She's not wrong.
It's a green lemon. And
So, the one that came up on my timeline the other day was JR was in the bathroom and he was messing with his anatomy. He was 3 at the time. And he was like, "Mommy, what are these? Like these balls or basically." And I was like, "Oh," I was like, because he was confused why they were in there.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Well, honey, those are your testicles." And he was like, "Oh," he's like, "So it's a ball house." And I'm like, "Touche. It houses the balls."
That is. And I'm like, sometimes I wonder with little boys. My friend has a little boy and she tells me these things and she's like, "Yeah, I got him out of bed this morning. It was all the way inside of him. We had to like pop it out." I'm like, "What? Excuse me?"
That hasn't happened to us yet.
No, we've gotten the exact opposite from both of our boys.
He's 16 months and I have to keep it away from him when I'm trying to change him. Like I'll take off his like shorts or whatever and like get ready to take off his diaper. He already has his hand ready and he's like, "Oh, okay, so it's coming out." And I'm like, "Leave it alone."
Nope. Yeah, you're complaining 16 months. Wait till he's 16 years old.
God, I don't
want to know. They have their own shower at that point. Stop. We are mothers. We don't know.
Right.
They don't want to know. They're gonna need a job to pay for that water bill.
Sick.
We used to have to restrict for our godson. Like we would have to limit his showers.
Right. I just told him you don't need the water on.
Ew, stop.
You're not fooling anybody. So let's save water, finish, and then take your shower.
We've lost control of the show.
Yeah.
You need another thing you need to do in editing. There's so many things you got to do with this episode. You need to do a counter of how many different candies
that we sampled because she's not eating any of them. She's sampling. She's literally sampling, and I'm eating it. How much?
Of course, I would totally do the same. If JR opened it and didn't finish it, which rarely happens, I would totally just.
Yeah, I am Trash Can. That's my name. The House of Trash Can.
I love it. So what are some, like, do you have any goals? Like, because I've seen you talk about, like, on your social media, you'd love to have, like, a shop of your own someday. Like, what are your, like, business goals that you have?
Stop. For me, because it's going to get in my hair.
You like red. Red.
I do like red.
I'm never going to forget that. Okay, great job. Go feed it to Diana and Roma. I think they need some of your sucker.
Lollipop.
They need some of your lollipop
too. She says it right.
Okay, it's a sucker. Calm down.
Lollipop.
Yeah. Well, we had a disagreement.
Not disagreement. You were wrong.
You're wrong. I call it a sucker. He calls it a lollipop.
Huh. Just like the song. Lollipop. It's not sucker. It's not
but there's different types.
That's the song. So I love that the lollipop reference was that one and not some love me the you like a. That's where my brain went.
I mean, I did grow up on that song.
That's because she just got out.
She just got
out.
She just got out.
She just got out.
I just got out the Kingdom Hall.
So goals. Do you have any of those?
For me, my goals with business are always teaching. Like I want, especially here in the Kansas City area, there's surprisingly not like accessible maker spaces. And I think it's super important. If we're taking shop class out of school and that's like the only limited exposure most kids are even getting, like that's a problem. And I think it's a really big problem. I think people need accessibility to that kind of stuff. And so I don't know in what capacity. Like I'd love to do more online teaching. I don't want to chew bubble gum. You can chew on some of them, but we don't swallow gum. So we'll save this for later.
But I like bubble gum.
Do you swallow it?
You chew on it.
Okay. That was a trick question. But for me, it would love to bring those things in person and not in like just a cheesy make and take, like come make a porch sign. Yes, that's cute. But like, I want people that if they're really interested in learning skills,
a safe place to learn it,
a safe place to do it. Like I would love to do that. So ultimate business goals, like I would love to see in 5 years, an actual community maker space. I just got to visit the one in Arkansas with Make 48 and it was incredible. I got to see another one in Wichita, Kansas, and it was amazing. And I'm just like, we're here in Kansas City, and it doesn't exist.
Yeah,
There's
I don't know that there's a lot of those out here either. I did find, like, I looked up one, but I never like went and checked it out because anxiety. I'm not gonna walk into the unknown. But there's not a lot of those out here either.
It's people-y out there if you leave the house.
Exactly.
There's like something that you can have just an accessible monthly price. You pay $50 a month to be a part of this. That if you're interested in something, you can learn it. That if you need steps to start your business, like obviously for certain reasons, I'm just really passionate about. Like I just felt thrown out into the world with no life skills. Yeah. And then for me, I think about this all the time. Like if the House of Timber fails, I'm a secretary or I'm a waitress. And there's nothing wrong with those positions if those fulfill you. Right. But I wasn't fulfilled in those positions. So like, what would I do? I don't think
I was always like, my mom like definitely like allowed my creativity. And even again, like kind of entertained it in the business aspect to a certain extent, but it was always like kind of the side hustle. And for the most part, it was like, you got to get a good job. You need to go to school. You need to do all those things. And not that was wrong, but I hated school at a very young age. Like I started hating school around like 4th grade. And so I was like, I had terrible test anxiety and I didn't even know that was like a thing. I wouldn't turn in homework because if I didn't finish it 100%, I would just not turn it in at all instead of getting like, a little bit of credit for the things that I did know, because I was self-conscious about turning in something that didn't have everything answered. And so little things like that where school was really a struggle for me that I wish I would have listened more to my creative side because I ended up testing out of high school. Again, because school was such a struggle for me, my mom found an amazing program where I could literally like take one huge test. And as long as I passed that huge test, I graduated and I actually got my diploma a year early instead of what potentially would have been a year late if I stayed in like traditional high school. But I remember
I did something very, very similar. So I went to 9th grade and then, Worldly Association in high school is dangerous, whatever. So I was the summer after 9th grade that I tested out through a homeschool program too.
Right.
And
it was similar. Yeah.
Take like 3 big tests and
right. Yeah. And it was great. Like I remember that's when I realized that I was kind of not fully, but that's when I realized I was different than like a lot of the other kids, because to me, I was so excited to be out of school and all my friends were like, oh, you're going to miss like senior split day and all these other things. Like, I don't care about that. And like, I wanted to stay in school so that I could continue to take my pottery and photography class. That's why I wanted to stay in the school, but it wasn't allowed. I had to take something like 4 to 6 classes in order to like stay. And I'm like, I only want to take these 2. And if I can't just take those 2, then I'm out, because I would then hate the other 2 or 4 that I was taking. So I
imagine, could you just imagine being that kid and having a space in the community where you could still enroll in like extracurricular classes?
That's what I mean. Like if they want to go to college, fantastic. If they don't, okay. But like, let's find what it is that you want to do, that you enjoy doing, that that makes you happy. So like, I want to do that more, just because I struggled when I feel like I didn't necessarily have to struggle, because I was very creative at a young age. And I'm glad that like at 30 something, life allowed me to do so, because although it's not all sunshine and rainbows, I'm way happier now doing whatever the fuck I want as far, creativity. Oh, sorry crew. But doing whatever I want, it's so much better than like the 9-to-5 desk job that still made me a lot more money that I'm currently making now. But I know that that's only currently. I know that I can make a lot more and be happier, not like doing what is other people's accepted.
And also just like redefining success. Like, who decides the income that you need is the income that provides food for your family and a place to live.
Yep.
Y'all can be rich and go take your fancy vacation. That's fine. I would love to afford those someday. But, I get to be richer in my everyday life.
Yep.
So for me, it's like I'll take those little mini vacations or the weekends off or the Fridays that we're just doing absolutely nothing because I'll be richer.
You have that freedom to do so. Yeah.
And I think a lot more people are kind of coming around to this idea with all this student loan debt and things like that. Like, so for my passion and business goals, like I want to make a space that enables people to branch off into a creative pursuit, the same that they would do, you can go to trade school or anything construction related, and you can do that. There's not going to be a VOTEC for somebody who wants to become a scroll saw artist, but if there was a community space where they had access to their equipment and saw other people doing it, I think that would be empowering. Like sometimes I think if my parents had any interest in who I was as a person and they celebrated any of my interests, what could I have been? Like not could I have been, I mean now.
Right.
What would happen if I had 10 years under my belt instead of just, 5 or something like that? Or if you as a child were celebrated for that. And so I would love a space that people with different interests in life could see people on paths of success doing what they were curious about. If you like to draw as a kid, great. But are you good at drawing it? Like, what if that could just be more than just the drawing on the fridge? I would love a space to do that. So ultimate business goals would be that. One day it'll happen.
Well, in order to help that, where can people find you?
Well, so let's talk about the code though.
Oh yeah. So I mostly do custom work. So as far as like commissioned work, I guess, but my website has some cool apparel. I have new maker stuff coming that should land November 12th. So that'll be like Maker Snake hoodies and crew necks and dope stuff like that. I have my logo tees up. I have those little maker skulls. That's kind of like the House of Timber badge. Like if you haven't joined the maker gang, like who are you? Where you been? Get a little maker skull up in your garage. So I've got 2 codes to the website, which I'm sure you will
mention one of them. So the one for everybody is RB20. And that gets you 20% off of
everything. So that'll be because there's no commissioned pieces. Like you have to contact me for that. So no discounts on commissioned pieces, but I have some scroll signs up, some maker related signs,
some tutorials, online, some online courses.
Yeah, intro to scrolling. And then even if you're a laser artist, there's a shaping tutorial on there too that you can apply. There's a router tutorial. So any of the apparel also. So anything on the website, stickers, there'll be tumblers and shirts and hoodies and stuff like that. Be 20% off that.
There's a bigger one, so we're not going to mention that one at all or the amount.
You have to go to Patreon for that one.
For our patrons, our lovely patrons that we love so much.
That's right.
So they get a much bigger discount. And so what is the website that they get a discount to?
You can just go shop at thehouseoftimber.com. And then that's all of my socials as well. So you can find me on Instagram at the House of Timber and then on my website, thehouseoftimber.com.
Perfect. So we pretty much covered it during, but like what would your advice to a new or struggling, let's just call it business owner, since it's not necessarily laser owner?
Yeah. Well, I think the scroll saw community, laser community, CNC community is all just like right there holding hands. It's the same goal, just attacking it from different sides. And I think for anybody, it's just start. People ask me, how did you get started? And I'm like, I started. I bought a saw. Like you're not going to have all the answers until you dive in, and you can do endless amounts of research. But if you think like I think, it won't make sense until you have a physical product in your hand that you're trying to apply that method to. So look around, ask your fellow peers, dive into the community, but just start. If you wait to have all the right answers and all the right tools, you're never going to make any progress. So dive in, mess it up, stay curious. If you wonder, oh, could I do this? You know how many times I've figured out you can scroll metal and brass and acrylic and all of those things? It's because I thought, I wonder if I could scroll this. And so it's like, you just
go try it.
Yeah. So stay curious, get started, like chase the curiosity of yours, and don't wait for the right time or all the right tools. Like stay safe when you're doing it and just go after it.
Yep.
Sounds like a new set of reels. Will it scroll?
I know. Let's do it.
I'm here for it.
That'll be
Well,
fun.
thanks for spending some time, and thanks to Crew for hooking us up with some candy.
Right? Bye,
Along the way.
Crew.
Where's
Where's
say bye-bye? She's gonna say bye-bye.
We'll come for the tag.
right?
Bye.
I see you later.
And that's been another great episode of the Rally Black Project with Crystal and John.
Bye.
Bye. Say see ya.
Bye.
Give me a kiss.
Mamie, we're all done.